Hello and welcome to my October reading wrap up. I read, drumroll please, 11 books this month, which I know some booktubers out there have read some crazier amounts in a month, but that is the most books that I have ever read in a month. The first book that I read is Addicted to You, and this is the first book in the Addicted series. I read actually the first 3 books in this series: Addicted to You, Ricochet, and Addicted for Now. And this series is about Lo and Lily, and Lo is an alcoholic and Lily is a sex addict, and they come from very wealthy, like billionaire families, so obviously they want to hide their addiction not just from their families but from the whole world. And they're also childhood best friends, and they pretend to be a couple in order to help each other hide their addictions from their families. So it's childhood friends to lovers, fake dating, and I loved the first 3 books so much. I cannot wait to finish this series. So far, this series overall is 100% of 5 stars, and especially the first book. Their relationship, just like my heart. Like, I don't know what else to say besides that. And I also am realizing I love like stories about like really wealthy families. I feel like it's a really interesting dynamic, and that coupled with addiction, which I don't think I've ever read any book about addiction, especially a romance book, was like really interesting. And this series also has a sister series called The Calloway Sisters, and the Calloway Sister series takes place with the same characters, the same timeline, the same world, so you're supposed to read the series intermixed, not separately. So this is the reading order for the 2 series, but theoretically you can read them separately if you want. So I also read Kiss the Sky, which is the first book in the Calloway Sister series, but Kiss the Sky follows Rose and Connor. And if you remember Lily from the Addicted series, she has 2 sisters, one of them being Rose, and Rose just signed a deal to have a reality TV series filmed about her and her sisters. And so they're all living in one big house together while this reality TV series is being filmed. And Rose also has a boyfriend named Connor, and she is a virgin, and she's like very scared to lose her virginity to Connor. So it is a romance, but it's not like your typical romance in a couple like meeting for the first time and getting together. Rose and Connor are already together, but it's about how their relationship is like changing and shifting with her losing her virginity. And also with this reality TV series going on, there's like a ton of drama within their relationship and also just within her family. And what I love most about these 2 series is that they're not just romance series, but they're also just like friendship series. If I could be a part of their friend group, I would. And I don't think I've ever read such a friend group driven series ever. Then I read Top Secret by Elle Kennedy, and this book, let me tell you, was juicy. It's about Keaton and Luke, and Keaton has a girlfriend, and for his girlfriend's birthday she wants to have a threesome with another guy. And so he goes on this dating app and he's anonymous on there messaging people to see who will be interested in their threesome, and that's when he starts talking to Luke. And he doesn't find out until they meet up to do the threesome in person that Luke is his frat brother. And not just his frat brother, the frat brother that he hates. And this is not a spoiler because it's dual POV between Luke and Keaton, so you find this out like right at the beginning who he's talking to. And of course Keaton is also like questioning his sexuality as he's talking to Luke and starting to fall for Luke. He also has a girlfriend during all of this, so a lot going on. And I really liked this book. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Then these next 3 books I read during my 24-hour readathon, so if you want to see me actually read these next 3 books like live with you, then you can check out my 24-hour readathon. So in that video, I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and oh my gosh, I love this book so much. It was unexpectedly a 5-star read for me. I don't know that this would be a 5-star read for everyone because it's not like some like crazy, unique, incredible story. I just love the characters so much, and it's set at college with hockey players, and like, okay, this is the first sports romance series I've started, and I big love college sports romance series, I have found out. But anyway, this book is about Garrett and Hannah has a crush on this football player, but she doesn't know how to get his attention, so she strikes a deal with Garrett, who is the captain of the hockey team at her college, and he's going to help her make her crush jealous, and in exchange for that, Hannah is going to tutor him. So it's got some fake dating in there, and then like I said, sports romance. You can't not love that. And this is the first book in the Off-Campus series, and so all of the books after this follow different characters that are either on Garrett's hockey team or like Hannah's friends. So I think that's just so cool, and I just freaking loved the character in this book. Garrett is like a kind of like a player, like sport dude at first, but then you realize he just has like the best heart and he's like the sweetest guy. And then Hannah is like so witty and can like fight her own fight, which I love in a girl. Like, she's not afraid to stand up to people. She's not afraid to like banter with Garrett and his hockey friends. So this was a home run, 5-star for me. Then I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren, also in that 24-hour readathon. This book is about Hazel and Josh, and they are so opposite. Hazel is like super crazy, loves bright colors, and then Josh is like the quieter, more chill dude. And of course, they are definitely not interested in dating each other, but they become friends and they decide to help each other out by setting each other up on double blind dates. I I thought this story was really freaking cute, but I also thought it was like fairly predictable. There's one big like surprise reveal at the end that I did not expect, but other than that, I feel like I could generally tell kind of like where the story was going. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars because of that. And I also just didn't feel like they had like super rich, like dramatic backstories, which they don't have to have. Like it's very much like a chill, light, like adorable romance read, which sometimes is what I need. So I would say if you're in the mood for a really like fun, light romance, then you will love this. But if you want something a bit meatier, then I would say the book is just okay, in my opinion. Then I read Archer's Voice, which I freaking loved. I gave this book 4.5 stars. It is about Bree and Archer, and they both had really terrible things happen to them. And Bree, in kind of like running away from her trauma, she moves to this small town where she meets Archer. And Archer is mute. Like he cannot talk, he does not talk. And so he's very much like the town outcast. Nobody really talks to him because they don't really know how to. But Bree is like intrigued by him, strikes up a friendship with him. So it's friends to lovers, and I just feel like I will always have like a special place in my heart for these characters, especially Archer. Like I just want to hug him so much because so many people have like wrongfully treated him in his life, and because Bree has also gone through some really terrible things, they like very much bond over like their trauma. I've heard a lot of people say this is like their comfort book, and I can definitely see that because even though it can be like very, very heavy at times, the way like Bree and Archer are just like there for each other, I just think of like warm hugs when I think of this book. Then I read Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, which is the first book in the Devil's Night series, but it can also be read as a standalone. And this book is a dark romance. Emphasis on dark. I have never read a dark romance ever before, and I don't know if they're all this dark, but this was a very dark way to dive into the dark romance genre. Okay, the amount of times I have said dark in the last like 20 seconds. Dark, 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 dark. This book is about Michael and Rika, and they grew up knowing each other their whole childhood, and they've always kind of like secretly been interested in each other, but they're very, very different. Rika is like very quiet, very innocent, and Michael is like popular basketball player, gets in a lot of trouble, but they run into each other in college. However, Rika doesn't know that several years prior, Rika did something that landed Michael's friends in jail, and all of his friends are now out of jail and they want to get revenge on her, and Michael is going to help them get revenge on Rika. I am so conflicted on what to rate this book. I give it a 3.5 just because I don't know that I'm a dark romance person. It was kind of hard for me to get behind their relationship because Michael secretly likes her, but he's also trying to get very terrible revenge on her. But it is like an insane plot. Like I was hooked the whole time. Like it's not a 3.5 because it is poorly written or because it's a bad plot. It's just personal preference. So if you're somebody who's into dark romance and like very like twisted, dark, kind of morally gray books and characters, then you would definitely love this book. Then I read The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and the plot of this book is so cute. Like this is one of the books I was most excited to read about. It's about Shay and Dominic, and they are doing a radio show where they are pretending to be exes. Only the both of them and their boss know that they never really dated, and the premise of the radio show that they're doing is that they're exes giving relationship advice and also talking about how their own relationship went wrong. So instead of fake dating, it is fake exes, fake used to be dating. I don't know if that's a trope. I just think that's the cutest plot, and it was like the cutest plot concept ever, but it fell a little bit flat for me. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I just felt like there wasn't a ton of like meaty, in-depth backstory to the characters, and so because of that, I just like didn't super care about the characters, and thus like didn't super care about their relationship. There's nothing wrong with the characters, like they were cool, but I just didn't feel passionate about them. So it wouldn't be the first thing I would recommend to someone, but if you're just looking for like something super fun and chill to read, then I would definitely check it out. And then lastly, I read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This book is about Bree and Jonah, and Bree lives in a big city, but her dad lives in a really rural town in Alaska, and he's sick, and so she's going out to Alaska to spend his last days with him. And when she's there, she meets Jonah, who is a pilot, and he's like a rugged, like lumberjack vibes man, and she's like the city gal. So it's Grumpy X Sunshine. And of course they develop feelings for each other, but she's really just there to visit her dad. Like she's not trying to move to Alaska. So they have this whole conflict of how can they be together when they don't want to live in the same place at all. And I would give this book 4 stars. I really liked it. The setting was very fun. It was the first like grumpy sunshine trope book that I've read. And I also just like love in books when the obstacle in their relationship is just super, super realistic, because that makes it just way more heartbreaking. And if I was in their shoes, I would have no idea what I would do. Like, you can't just give up your whole life for a man and live in a place that you don't want to be. And he also shouldn't do the same for her. And so it was just like very heartbreaking to have them go through that conflict and try and work it out. And I'm not going to tell you what they decide or how it ends, but yeah, I like that one a lot. And it is also the first book in the Simple Wild series, so I'm now in the middle of a lot of series. So yeah, that is all the books that I read this month in October. Let me know if you guys have any book recommendations down in the comments below. I read a lot of romance, as you can tell, so always down for romance recommendations. And I'm also trying to get more into like murder mystery, thriller, so if you have any recommendations in those genres, let me know. And I'll see you guys next week for my next video. I'm gonna try and read November 9th by Colleen Hoover on the date November 9th. So my next video is probably gonna be a reading vlog of me reading that book, and it will be my first time ever reading Colleen Hoover, so I'm very excited.